Welcome to MonsterCast, the podcast giving you the stories and insights of the monster truck world you won't find anywhere else. And now, giggity, 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 your hosts Cameron Meegan and Mason Paul.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to the MonsterCast. Now with 50% more glasses action. That is right. I actually got my glasses in today and can, for the most part, see. If you can't already notice, we actually are one host short today. Cam, sadly, we've had some fighting and some breaking out. We are no longer working together. Just kidding. No, he's recently just finished up with the show in Wichita, Georgia, and not Georgia. Kansas City? Yes. Kansas City, Wichita, sorry. And he told me it's time for me to just do one episode on my own. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm still going to wing it and do our best MonsterCast little episode, just me. This is new. But going on with that, talking about our shows, I know that actually Dan Dahlgren in the Quad City show in East Moline, he tore it down. I don't know, between either him or Tyler, who had the better freestyle. It's kind of really close to say. I know that they both tore it down, but I'm almost wanting to go with Dan because he did quite a number on it. He had a flat in the truck. I know Tyler didn't have a flat. It's less damage, but I don't know. I think giving it to Dan. I know that Cody Saucier, he was in, where was he this weekend? He was in Senger, Georgia, and he won racing with the rest of the Botters clan. My buddy Dallas Rogers, he told me that in Post Falls, Idaho, their show went pretty well. You got to hear a little bit of him announcing, and I know for a fact that Powerhouse is still, besides the shock, still in one piece. And to end it all off, I know that our good friend Nick Meegan, was it jail? Oh yeah, it was actually Jailbird, and he tore it down and he dusted off all those cobwebs on his helmet. And he rose from the flames, and he did some great freestyle runs, and can't wait to see what he's got going on this weekend. But now that you've heard enough from me talking about shows that happened this weekend, I do want to talk to our guests, Tyler and Austin Minton. So with that to do, I'm gonna go ahead and bring them on. How are we, gentlemen?
What's up, Mason?
How are we doing, Mason?
Pretty good. Nice catching up with you guys after, it's been 4 or 5 months since I've seen your beautiful faces, I guess.
Mainly me, but
yeah. Saw Tyler one time, and I think that was about it.
Yeah, Salt Lake City there, beginning of first quarter. It was the last time I saw you, Mason.
And I'm glad it stayed that way.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't want to be on that mess you guys may have broken. I think we broke a lot more. I actually wanted to be on that tour.
Yeah, you definitely broke a lot more.
Yeah, we broke a lot of front ends.
more than we can count. But continuing on with that, glad to have you guys on. And I know the fans are wondering, what have you guys been doing since shutdown 2020's happened? I'll go ahead and start with our new guy, Tyler. What do you have to say?
With all this started, I flew back home, got to see some family for a couple weeks, and then came back out to Kansas City. And me and Jim started trucking, doing some short hauls, about 600 miles round trip, 5 days a week, working that daily job. And then started back up 6 weeks ago, getting a full-time ride in Outlaw. So it's, these last 6 weeks have been kind of crazy and kind of living the dream now.
That's adorable. Glad to finally see you drive though. I've seen a few shows, as you can see with the video, but I mean, you're getting there. It's all in time.
Slowly but surely.
Very slowly.
What about you, Austin?
Once everything happened, we were actually supposed to go to Tucson, and we had a week off in between, so we all flew home, and they canceled Tucson, so we got to stay home a little longer than expected, and I just worked around the shop part-time and mainly rebuilt my chassis, pulled the motor out of it, transmission, completely went through everything, put brand new shocks on it, and trial and error ever since, trying out some new things with the motor, hopefully keep some oil pressure during nose wheelies and all that.
Right. Well, again, like usual, kind of trial and error and get there eventually. But one of the other things we're going to go ahead and move on to here is how did you guys both get started in the industry? I mean, for myself, I kind of know how you guys both got started, but for our fans watching, I guess start with Tyler. How did you get involved in all this business?
I came the super fan route. It actually all started in Tacoma, Washington. Drove 8 hours on a Thursday, Friday to go see Jim and Don up there at just a little small fair. And after the weekend, caught up with Don and Jim at the post-show autographs and asked them, hey, you just need help tiring down. Started tiring down, kind of kept up with Jim, and being in college was able to have the summers off. And it all started just crewing during the summers. That started in 2014, kind of off and on for the last 6 years. And in between all of that, was able to go test with Monster Jam, trying to go in that route. Didn't really work out and never got a phone call back, but then came back with Jim, and he's just allowed me to be his crew chief for almost the last 7 months. And then now he's giving me the opportunity to be the driver of Iron Outlaw.
Well, I mean, it's glad to know you actually came out of most of the first quarter unscathed. What about you, Austin?
I actually went to school with Jim's oldest daughter and his son-in-law. So they're a little short-staffed at one point when I first started, and they had a bunch of work to do with both trucks. They had to swap housings in one truck and a motor in another, and all they had was Sinjin, Mullet, and Cam was coming up to help too. So Sinjin got a hold of me and asked if I could come help for a few days, and I was there, and I thought it was pretty cool. And it'd be interesting to see, where it went from there. So I asked if Jim was hiring, and of course he was. So went out and did my first show in Minnesota with him, and the rest is kind of history.
Nice. I know you actually, between the both of you guys both crewed for Jim, and for the most part, both all still came unscathed. I guess go ahead and talk about that experience, being able to work with now a two-time world time champion. Go ahead with you, Tyler.
Yeah, I mean, with it all starting 6 years ago, kind of being that super fan, not knowing anything, Jim wanted to make sure my head was in the right spot and want to see what I was capable of. He's been in the business, 25 years. So he knows everything. And if he hasn't seen everything, we've seen it in the last 6 years for sure. But he can teach you anything if you're willing to learn, if you're willing to be a hard worker. And it's just been a crazy experience jumping in a rig with a guy that I only seen on TV. And now 6 years down the road, we're joking around, knowing a lot more than I ever have. Some days are rougher than others. Just being monster trucks, nothing goes right. But I love the experience. Jim's been amazing. He teaches me anything. Any questions I have, he always give me an answer. It may take longer sometimes, but that's just because I can be slow. But wouldn't change anything.
What about you, Austin?
It's definitely been a learning experience. I had honestly no idea who Jimmy Cretan was when I first started, and even when I first met him. Monster trucks isn't really something that I followed very big when I first got into it. So meeting him and learning throughout this whole time, it's definitely been crazy, but it was also really cool. I flew back and forth between Jim's team and B team, who, when I first started, was Mullet and for a while Matt Cody, which is probably the worst combination you could ever have, because both of them will go out there and just completely destroy trucks. But it's a lot of fun to be with those two and help them put it back together, because it's always entertaining. And then getting thrown into first quarter on stadiums with Jim, that was pretty – we actually had it pretty easy. He didn't tear up a whole lot. A lot of body work, but that was most of it. And, once I got into driving, I still don't do that full time. I still have to go crew for him occasionally. And, whenever you call him on the phone with problems or whatever, and he will tell you exactly what to do and what not to do, because in his 25 years, he's pretty much seen everything that could happen to one of these trucks. So he's a very knowledgeable guy.
Well, speaking on knowledgeable guys and crewing, surprisingly, look, I just saw who joined in, so I'll go ahead and introduce him again. Cameron Meegan, he's back with us. Thought you weren't going to make it.
Oh, I thought I'd stop in here for a second. I already heard the bullshit flying out, so I thought I better step in here. Tyler talked about how he's crew chief for 7 months, and Austin actually likes Jim, so I figured I better get in here so we can make this honest.
I never said I liked Jim.
What's up, guys? How are we tonight?
Good. How you doing, Cam?
Good.
You excited?
I just want.
Days?
What's that?
You excited to see us in a couple days?
Yeah. Can't wait to see you guys. Gonna have you guys in Clarksville, Tennessee this weekend. No, I'm gonna let Mason keep this one. I won't stay long. I just I can't hardly talk. I announced this weekend, but I just wanted to stop in and tell you guys how proud I am of both of you, what you guys have done. Austin, in my opinion, not that this is my interview, so I'm just going to say it real quick, but Austin, honestly, I think is one of the best drivers out there right now. Is just killing it. And Tyler's going to get there. I see it happening. As long as his head doesn't swell in that helmet, which it hasn't done yet, so we're okay so far. But I just want to get in here, and because I know the story's not going to be told. So there's only one story I want told, and that's Austin. You ever had to go for a long walk at a show before? Has that ever happened to you, where you just decided one day you're going to take a long walk?
Yeah, I think someone else kind of decided that for me. We were down in Florida, and as everyone knows, I like to say, well, I was rooming with Jim, and he swears he woke me up, but he didn't. So when I woke up, I figured he was at breakfast or something with Darren. So I walked up there and didn't see him. I walked outside and didn't see the rig. So I walked back and maybe I passed him somewhere, and maybe he's back in the room or across the street at the gas station. But he was nowhere to be found and wouldn't answer his phone. So I decided to do what the track was, and it was 10 miles. So Jim was going to prove a point that he would leave me if I was sleeping, and I proved my point that I wasn't afraid to walk there.
Well,
Yeah.
like I said, I just wanted to make sure that story got out there because I think that's one of my favorites. It's the most effort Austin ever put into getting to work in a day.
It did take me 4 hours, so but I showed up right on time at 1 o'clock, like normal.
Well, like I said, I'm gonna let Mason take this deal. I thought I'd hop in here for a second, just say hey, and Mason, I think we're gonna be okay. We'll try to work on our relationship, but it's all the problems are your fault, just so you know.
All right. Well, make sure to talk with you soon, and catch you later.
All right, guys, and I'll see you all in a couple days.
Yep. See you Friday, Cam.
Yeah.
Later.
Yeah, our relationship's not getting fixed. That thing is screwed. We're done. This is our last episode together. That's why we had just ending it all off with the team, and probably just gonna fight it off the end of this episode and never speak to each other again. But before we go too far into knowing a little bit more about you guys, we actually have our Christopher segment clip where he actually tells you a little bit more about you guys. I know we just found out that Austin likes to sleep in until about 1 to 2 p.m., but we don't know too much about Tyler, so maybe we can find a little bit more about this clip now.
Hi there, Monster Truck fans. Christopher Allen, the Monster Truck Guru, has returned once more for another episode of Monster Truck Fact of the Week. This rendition is about the two extreme racing B team, Austin Minton and Tyler Senger. Austin started crewing for Jimmy Creighton in 2016, doing his first show as a driver the very next year. In 2018, Austin got his first taste of Monster Jam competition in stadium tour events. The past 2 years have seen Austin run the famous Megalodon body atop his two extreme racing chassis. Austin's fact is that before getting involved with Jimmy Creighton through Jimmy's future son-in-law Senger, Austin had only ever seen one monster truck show in his life. Tyler Senger started crewing for Jimmy in 2014. His first show behind the wheel came in Del Mar, California, just outside San Diego in 2018. Tyler has only ever crewed and driven for Jimmy throughout his career. Tyler's fact is that he has previously beaten Tyler Meninga in Gravedigger in a head-to-head race. And that's this episode of Monster Truck Fact of the Week, fans. Please like Monster Truckin' with Jim and Chris on Facebook and Instagram for loads of awesome Monster Truck Show content. Please like this page for new episodes, and remember, Monster Trucks forever.
Man, those videos he makes every now and then, I think I know quite a bit, and he just kind of lands me straight on my ass, and I'm like, wow, I'm learning more about these two people I've met recently, more than they've even told me. So he's got quite a scope in on you two guys. But I know eventually I want to start going on to that Rosemont weekend where you did beat Tyler on a Tyler race, but we'll save that a little bit later on because that was a fun weekend on its own. But going on to you guys, how was it driving like big names like Monster Mutt and Megalodon? Go ahead and start with Tyler.
It was crazy. I only found out probably 12 hours before, officially like an hour before pit party even started, that I was going to be in Monster Mutt that Sunday in Rosemont to get the opportunity. He came up to me before the show and just was like, "Hey, you're going to drive. We need you to go out there, make all your passes. Just get through the show. Don't wreck. Don't roll over." And that was all that was going through my head. So even during pit party, they put us in a long table, and my heart just pounding the whole time. I'm signing autographs. I'm with the big dogs now, but everyone from that Triple Threat West tour was awesome. Made me feel easy at home. Through ATVs and speedsters, it was, one of the best weekends I think I've had in Monster Jam.
So nice. I know you did not roll that. That's from memory. I think you did not roll.
Ooh, no, I rolled wheelie contest. I went up and rear steer did not come back with me. Body was not brand new, but was newer, and I kind of trashed that body that weekend. I had 1 day in it, and I rolled, I believe, on the shows.
But we'll receive that story a little bit later, but we're going to go on to Austin because How is it driving Megalodon now for 2 years? And that's like one of Monster Jam's bigger names and kind of quicker. Was that like a lot of pressure on you?
Not too much. I was kind of used to it. Having to sport the world champion name of Bounty Hunter on the 2018 tour, especially in stadiums, because those places are always packed. I wasn't really sure how I would like the Megalodon, but once I got in it and seeing the fan base, it was absolutely amazing. Being on Triple Threat West for 2 years, even after the driver change this year, it was awesome. Everyone was always friendly, and I learned probably most of my driving stuff from them, watching them day in and day out and sitting there watching videos a million times of what to do and what not to do. Megalodon probably was the best truck I've driven just because of the fan base.
All right. Well, even going on from that, and I mean, Austin, we kind of known each other long enough, so we've already had, 2 years of arena fun. But going on to Tyler, since you just kind of jumped in on that, talk about between doing your first Monster Jam show and a big arena in front, making it in the big leagues, but then now kind of moving back down and sombering out with more like independent shows where things are a lot more like laxed. Does it kind of like help with your nerves now and like things go a lot like down, or are you still kind of like want to like beat like everybody there?
No, an hour before the show, 30 minutes before the show, the nerves are flying. Doesn't matter. I mean, if it was in Del Mar the first time I drove, or Rosemont, or this last show in East Moline, I mean, nerves are still going. But as soon as I get in the truck and if you fire it up for intros, they just all go away. It's just a calming effect just to hear that motor run. I think it's a lot more relaxed. I've only done one show this summer that was not a too extreme show, and it's just actually been where I'm learning a lot. Austin's been a great teammate, been able to tell me what I'm doing wrong, which is a lot of the time, and then what can I improve on, and what am I able to actually do without putting the truck in jeopardy.
What about you, Austin? Between doing Monster Jam arena shows and shows you guys are doing now, which one did you prefer?
Honestly, I prefer the summer shows. They're way more laid back. You can always get up close with the fans. All you got to do is usually walk across the track and through some gates. They're way more fun. There's not as many trucks most of the time. And, Monster Jam builds their stuff. They like to see air, and it's all fast-paced. Their stuff is pretty brutal and puts a beating on you and the truck. So summer shows are definitely way more fun. You can go out there and, just have fun driving. A lot of times we do speedways or bigger fairgrounds, so you have more room than you do in arenas. And that's probably the most fun of it all, is just having the room to do whatever you want.
Yeah, looking on the videos lately, it's definitely can agree with that. From watching the arena shows we've done and the most one you guys just did in Moline, just to kind of like the amount of air and track you just kind of get from it seems a lot more breathing room. But before we get on to a few of these fan questions we have going on, one question I wanted to ask both of you guys, and again, I want to start off with Tyler here. What has been your biggest blunder driving?
My biggest blunder driving, I thought I did a great. It was first time down in Del Mar. I thought I did a great, amazing show. Austin was on a little vacation down in Mexico, and came out after what was the best freestyle run that weekend in my last one, and get out of the truck and walk around it, and big oil puddle under the back tire. Ended up breaking a weld that was already there, and ended up spending the whole night trying to fix the champagne that was already welded that I rebroke. And Austin and Sinjin come in from their flight. They call us up. Hey, how's everything going? And I'm like, yeah, you guys need to get here and get your work clothes on because we're going to be here all night trying to get this back together.
Yep, that was my first week helping you guys out, and that was when I was thinking about talking to Jim about working with you guys. As soon as that freestyle run was over, I was coming up, and all I see is Jimmy yelling at Tyler, like, "Oh my God, I don't know if I want to do this anymore."
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought I did great too. I'm like, heck yeah, I get to go watch the rest of the freestyle, and I just see this puddle, and I knew that we were. I was even told, hey, we're gonna get through this weekend. We're going to have fun. We're going to go out and have a great dinner tonight. And the next thing you know, I clear this little pod and break the back of the champagne off. And yeah, the rest of the night's done.
Oops. What about you, Austin?
Mine is probably 2 years ago. We went up to Beaver Dam, Wisconsin. And Mason, I'm pretty sure you were there for this one.
Yeah.
We were just from Woodstock, Georgia. We lost 2 motors in 2 different trucks, so we rushed back to the shop. We could only get 1 motor back in, and that happened to be an Outlaw. So Jim's bounty was just sitting out, and I had to put the bounty body on. And Jim actually borrowed Darren's truck to go up there so we could keep it a 4-truck show. And I'll go out there, and I told Jim he could drive mine so Bounty Hunter could put on a good show. And he said no. He had faith in me that I could do it. So normally for intros, he'll go out there and blast a little donut and then pull up, get everyone excited, So he told me to do that, and I go out there. And all I had on was my lap belt. And I just turn into it, try to do a little donut, and the truck flips over and completely destroys a brand new body. And there's fuel leaking everywhere because Mason didn't put my fuel cap on right. So that was upside down for intros. So that was probably the best way to start off the show.
Yeah, remember that one. I don't remember the fuel cap part. Mostly because I probably try to clear that from my memory banks. But, yeah, it sounds about my rookie mistake a few weeks. About ready to put the towel in and leave, basically. But
yeah, I think Mason he forgot to take the funnel out of the fuel tank.
No, that is not me.
Hey, I've only forgot to put a cap on a fuel tank once, and that was Jim going into final racing at RMR. And he hits the first jump, and all you see is just the little spout of methanol coming out the back. And Trent looks over at me and says, he better not get shut off. And right there, that's when that fear sets in. Because, if you get shut off, your night's just ruined. You're done. You're going to go take a long walk.
I mean, the first time I did it was my first weekend out. And that was probably the second time I've actually turned like full on white. Because I was like, I just came all the way here. I messed up. This is over. This is it. But you eventually learn from your mistakes one way or another, but maybe. But let's see. Guess we'll go ahead and move on to a few of our fan questions we have going on here, because one thing we like to do on this podcast is have a lot of our interaction with fans and people tuning in. So I want to start off with a pretty interesting one here with Tim Mente. I think he's asking one of you guys, so you were the Domino's pizza delivery guy. I'm going to assume he's talking about Austin, but Tyler, you correct me if I'm wrong.
Actually, Tim was the best Domino's delivery guy we had there in Tennessee. Pizza came out very fresh, so was not disappointed. But I did not give a tip. I was kind of broke.
Damn. Okay. See what else we have going on here. We have one from Sam Colt saying, hey, Tyler, for a little over a year now, how does it feel to be a part of the big show now? You're putting on a good show. So that was a little off.
Yeah, actually, what was it? on Sunday was a year to the date when I came back to work for Two Extreme Racing, and now being able, I mean, kind of doing full circle. You got to do your time, no matter how long you've crewed before. If you leave, you come back. I mean, I guess I'm not as lucky as Austin, but you don't get to start where you left, injuries. But he's been a driver. But when I leave, come back, your timetable resets as a crew guy. You start at the bottom and you work your way back up. So staying here for a year, seats finally open back up, and it's kind of surreal to actually be sitting in a driver's seat now and actually being a monster truck driver now.
Imagine jump from one thing to the next. That crazy. I mean, it takes a lot of experience, but I feel like you've earned it, knowing how you've laid into it for about a good few, about almost a year now, if you consider everything you put in.
Yeah, I mean, going through COVID kind of changed everything, and really kind of saw what this team was made of. And now I think we're at a position where we're, going to push for the future, and I think it's going to be good. And have 2 or I guess 4 amazing drivers that can get it done every weekend.
Maybe to highlight one of our amazing drivers, here's a comment from Dawson Reyes. He's asking, Tyler, how does it feel to lose to the wrecking machine?
Yeah, if he would have had all, I lost to him. I couldn't even go out. That's how bad it was. He just sat at the starting line waiting for me the first race. The next weekend, if he has both drive lines, has all 4 tires pulling, he probably beats me again. But Dawson's an amazing guy, and can't wait to do another show with him. We had 2 great weekends, and wish we could still continue those.
Little bromance going on, but I'm gonna go ahead and move it on to Austin for a few questions. Our good buddy Phil, he's mentioning that the first time I met Austin, I almost died. And he put a hashtag put your fins up.
Yeah, the first time I met Phil, it was like my 3rd show ever, and we were at Tucson Speedway. And Phil was there. He wanted to help out crew, so he was there hanging out, and he came down to the infield. We talked for a while, and I gave him the radio so that he could escort us back out to the trailers. And I was following him, and next thing I knew, Phil was gone, and all I could see was his feet. He had tripped over something and scorpioned down the asphalt.
Nice. Well, good Phil. Sounds like him. Let's see. One from Preston Perez. He's asking you, Austin, did my truck land good for you?
It did. It didn't like to start for me. When I filled in for Corey and Vaughters Motorsports, the first time I'd ever sat in that truck, Matt told me to get in there and move it for pit party. I got in there and hit the starter, and instantly it went out on me. So I felt like it was going to go great from there.
Man. Bummer, but let's see. We'll go ahead and put one for the both of you guys from Justin Heaton asking, where has your favorite venue been to perform so far? He's saying, I remember seeing Austin in Bounty and Zanesville. I think he got a driver mix-up, but he's saying, and Ohio along with Tanner at a very rainy show a couple of years ago. I think he meant to say Tyler, but we're just going to go with Tanner for today. But what is your guys' favorite venue to drive it so far?
No, that was Tanner.
That was Tanner's first show.
Yeah.
It was a muddy mess. Probably one of the least fun shows I've ever done because it never stopped raining. Favorite venue-wise would probably have to be Angel Stadium in Anaheim. That place is huge, and it's beautiful scenery when you're inside the stadium. And it's a really cool place to go explore.
What about you, Tyler, so far?
I would have to say, only done a couple shows, but Del Mar was my favorite there, 4th of July weekend. The year that I drove, we had some fun, but I've had more fun crewing in Del Mar than I have driving. The last time we were there, just with Tim and Janae, being there with their camper, a great time. Another place I love going is Newfoundland, just the boat ride over there. Everything's kind of relaxed the whole time we're there for 3 shows. But every time I've gone to Newfoundland, it's been a blast. Kind of sucks that we can't go up to Canada and see all of our Canadian friends. But when we can get back up there, I can't wait to drive up there. I think it's going to be a blast.
Yeah, Del Mar is definitely fun, being right on the beach.
Yeah.
That fireworks show it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, when you have a good DJ.
Yeah, I'm not the DJ anymore. I'm going to back out of that duty.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Del Mar's fun to watch, but being there a few years now, at least with you guys, it's a bad streak. Because the first year that was when Tanner was just getting into it, and he rolled, and then Jimmy yelled at him, and also Tyler got yelled by Jimmy. That was when I came along, and the next year after that, all the motors about blew out. I don't know what it is about there. Great time, great venue, but just lately to me, my hometown shows always seem to hate me. I don't know.
Never good luck in the hometown.
I guess so. That's why I like to do shows away from California, I suppose now. Here's one from Tim Mente, though. He's asking Austin to give us your best mullet experience.
There was a lot. A lot of the time I had to stay at his house. He had this old Chevy Impala, and we got in it to go get a bunch of parts and stuff. We're driving down the freeway, and probably 500 yards in front of us is dead stop traffic. Well, he hits the brake pedal, and it goes straight to the floor. So he had no brakes, and we're doing probably 80. So instead of getting off on the exit ramp like a normal person would do, Mullet drove it into the median and had probably 10 cars grinding down the median.
Wow. Pretty good. Let's see what else we have going on here. I'll line up a little bit. Might move on to Dan's. The part about Rosemont that I wanted to get onto now, by the way, the somewhat new body before it got destroyed. So maybe sell us once and for all, because Dan's seems to be on my side, saying, guess he didn't know how to set the rear steer to auto.
No, the rear steer was an auto. That first show, I kept having electrical, the battery issues is what I thought they were. End up went out for wheelies, rear steer stayed, slowly came back, but I still hit it, didn't do what everyone else is doing, going up, backing up. I was like, nah. I was just at MJU. I'm going to line up for this, and we're just going to hit this, and end up kicking it all the way and rolling over. And then went out for freestyle. That same thing, roll out. Okay, shut me off. Waiting for a truck to be towed off, and I have no power. End up coming to find out that the kill switch in the rear of the truck just took a beating and was done. And so that's where all my power issues were coming from, and everything was running slower because it wasn't having full power, I guess.
Seemed like, because I know because they had the little TV up in the top, and I'm just watching. I'm like, oh my God, it's not self-centering itself out. Don't do you don't have a headset. I'm just screaming don't hit it. And I just see the truck do a cool pirouette and then just roll over. And then when you come back, it's like, yeah, I think something's wrong. All I do is hop in the cab and I just flick the rear steer. I'm like, oh, look, I fixed it. I guess something's up. That's where that second day, I think it was the second day of that weekend started. I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be an interesting one.
Yeah, I mean, for Dan though, I mean, at least I know in my truck how to go left and right with my rear steer. Watching him freestyle, he struggled a little bit, but it's all good. Rosemont was a blast, and hopefully we get to go back there again. But with all this COVID stuff, no one knows.
Yeah, Mason disappeared on us.
Yeah, there we go. So we're just gonna run this then.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. Sorry about that. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Yeah, my webcam literally just died as you were telling that story, but I already got the story, so yep. I mean, it seems you two both seem to have small issues with rear steer, but I don't know, between the two of you guys, at least knowing which way is which. I mean, we've I know at least I've ran into that like 10,000 other times, but come on, Dan. But yeah,
He got there. It only took him maybe 4 turns, and then he figured out that the monster trucks are different than our ride trucks. If you want to go left, you're gonna hit everything and go left. If you go right, you're flip your switch to the right. Our ride truck's set up a little differently, so
It's set up exactly the same.
Is it? Oh, yeah. I thought it was set up backwards. So, but I guess he does it with his other hand.
Dan's saying it's backwards, but I don't know. Maybe he's covering up his tracks right now.
Yeah. We came to the conclusion that we're never letting Dan drive anything again. He broke the housing on the ride truck and flattened one of our tires on the race truck. So he's banned for life.
Damn.
He's in a special tier of drivers to go through 2 trucks in a weekend.
Sorry, Dan. There's no way. He's just getting mad in the chat now, but sorry, man. This is just us 3 talking, and you have no say in this. If you're banned, you're banned. So that's out of my hands. Sinjin just tuned in, just saying Dan for president.
For president. Oh man. Hey, we'll see how he does this weekend. If he does okay, we might let him back in.
Maybe. But let's bring it down to one of our favorite questions. Cam usually likes to ask it. I usually like to ask it. But for you two, what has been your favorite road story to tell to like anyone so far? Go ahead and start with you, Tyler.
Ooh, I don't even know. There's just so much that happens on the road. We're pretty much that was the first thing. If you anything started in Yakima with Jimmy Cretin. Opie was there, his first show with Jim, and we get out on the road after a rough weekend, and Jim tells me, Tyler, you are pretty much married to the guys you work with. And I didn't believe it. I'm like, man, what is this? Like, we'll be fine. But we are literally on the road 48 weekends a year, 60 shows a year. You are married to the people you work with. I see these guys more than I do my own family. I know they see me way more than they see their significant others. But that's what makes this team so fun, is that we all get along, and we are pretty much all married to each other. We hate each other some days, but it gets way better. The highs are way better than the lows.
I don't know. After crewing for Austin for 1 year, it's definitely a lot like a marriage. I just kind of learned to hate him more, but we just still work along together great. But I mean, yeah, we basically are like some ragtag family. But what about you, Austin, for your best road story? Since I think our friend here's kind of pussing out from telling a story.
Yeah. When Mason works with me, he has to have headphones in. Otherwise, he hates me because I just yell at him all the time. Just because he gets so worked up.
Okay, you can't. This is why I hate the webcam being dead right now. It's just a bunch of hand signals right now, but I'm not always acting up.
Yeah, his hands
always.
Wow. My favorite road story is probably it was with Mike Christensen. I don't remember where we were coming from, but we had to stop in New York and put our trucks on display. Jim was promoting a show there, and none of the other trucks that were doing the show could make it to do displays. So we stopped and did the displays, and when we packed up to head south to Georgia, we got to northern Kentucky, and the old white Volvo, it was spitting and sputtering, had to stop and change the fuel filter. So we shut it off, changed the fuel filter, and it wouldn't start. We had no idea if the fuel pump was bad or what. So we kept calling everyone, and we would even go into the truck service department, and they didn't have the parts we needed because they didn't know what was wrong with it. Finally, we get it fixed. We get back on the road the next morning, and we still had probably 5 or 6 hours to drive to make it to the show. That was in 3 hours. We somehow made up a lot of time, probably keeping that Volvo as fast as she would go the whole time.
Just pinning it.
We showed up during intros, and like they were getting back in their trucks to go do racing, and we were just pulling in the gates. Mike whipped that thing in there, and before he had the brakes set, I had the doors open to the trailer, and I was unloading trucks. So, pretty much everyone's crew guy was up there to help us. John Gordon actually came to the show just to watch and ended up helping us tire up, set shocks and everything to get ready. I don't even think we set my shocks, actually. We were trying to put tires on as I was trying to put my fire suit on and everything else. And that was just hectic.
Hey, the best road, though, is my first year with Jim. I was setting shocks, I think on Don's truck or Jim's, and I backed into a nitrogen bottle. And you do not, when your gauge is hooked up, you make sure that thing's in a spot where it's not going to fall. And I backed up into it. As soon as it hit, like it starts spinning around in a circle, and Jim jumps on this thing and rides it like it's a bull till it stops. And then I kind of walked away, or was told to walk away. But then it even got better that weekend because we get done with that show, going back to Jeff Souza's place to work on trucks. And I backed Jim into a pole that Souza told us, hey, if you're backing in, watch out. Guys have hit it. Take your time. There's no one around. And I backed Jim right into it, put a 4-inch gash in the trailer.
Nice.
And then I was ready to go home. I was looking at plane tickets. I was done. And I just remember Russ Steely coming in, had no idea what has happened. I'm in the trailer, like literally looking at plane tickets. And he's like, so you ready to go home? And I just like, yep, I'm at that point now where I'm ready to go home. And he goes in and figures out what's coming on, and he comes back out and was like, dude, like no idea what you just been through. And kind of just apologized for it. But that, I mean, looking back is probably the worst but funniest moments that I've had working with Jimmy Creedon.
I know for yourself, just coming even into Salt Lake City this year in Wyoming, that story you told me about how you almost died.
Oh, yeah.
That was pretty good.
No, yeah, traveling overnight. I mean, I thought I was going to get it easy going through Wyoming, but didn't know the storm they were going to have. And when you're in a semi with a 53-foot trailer and you have the wheel turned completely sideways and you're still being pushed off the road, yeah, we shouldn't have made it, but we did. Luckily, we had a crew guy, Tyler, that kept me awake. I think we kept the whole rig awake with how much we talked all night long, just because I didn't want to wreck and I wanted to stay awake for the whole thing, but didn't even make it across the whole state of Wyoming in 12 hours.
Oh my God.
I only got 3/4 of the way through it.
But I think the 3 months the other Tyler was with us, he didn't stop talking for about 5 minutes. So.
I love that dude. He had so many stories. It came to points like, is this story even real? But it's that guy was something else.
He was definitely entertaining.
Oh yeah, that was he made my first quarter like just 10 times more fun. But going on to another interesting question from Kyle Knickerbocker. He's wondering, between you two, any rental car stories?
I do not have any.
Nope, because our rental cars are always semis.
Yeah, we always travel around in the semis.
Darn. You sure there's not one from maybe Austin?
Nope.
Damn.
I'm too young to have a rental car anyway, so. And Jim
Aren't we
doesn't
all?
like me enough.
Maybe one day. Find out. Maybe we can get Dan. Maybe he can get some cookie points back and give us a rental car.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
He can give me his rental car this weekend. I'll be okay. We'll get through the weekend.
All right.
We just teased him. He's probably not coming this week.
Yeah, I think in just 1 hour alone, we've kind of like bullied him to the point where I don't know if he's coming back.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to pull double duty, drive the right truck, and then figure it out with a monster truck.
So it's all about double duty, dude. You're gonna your warm up is the ride truck, and then you tear it down in Iron Outlaw.
Yeah, I'm gonna tear it down in Redneck, and then I'll jump in into Outlaw and not know what to do, and go out there and do what I do every weekend.
Well, how about maybe tear it down in Redneck and then tire down in Outlaw?
Yeah, I'll tire down. We'll try and get
Okay.
that one in the trailer.
All right. Here's the question from your dad, Tyler. He's wondering, who past or present would you dream to race?
Geez, for a dream race, I mean, I think it'd be fun to race some of the legends with Dennis or Tom, or even go even old school with Bob Chandler. I think that'd be being put in like original monster trucks. I think that'd be fun. A dream race. I mean, I get to race Austin and Jimmy and Don a lot. If I ever make it to the final round against one of those guys, I think it'd be fun. But yeah, a dream would be with against Dennis in his prime, or Tom when he was at the top. Any Anderson would be fun to race against, I think, just being a super fan.
Oh, super fan. What about you, Austin?
Definitely Dennis. I've gotten to race Tom, and I think the only two Andersons I haven't raced are Dennis and Adam. So, but I mean, you can't go wrong with Dennis. He's a pioneer of the sport.
For sure. Let's see if we can kind of line up a little more here. Justin Heaton's wanting us to follow up on the rental car stories. If no rental car stories, what about road semi stories?
Oh, there's
The time the semi broke down on us.
Yeah, now we have to always travel in pairs, just because we take these long trips, kind of tag team drive, and if we're doing our own shows, always whoever's in the ride truck, try and leave when one of our trucks goes, just because anything can happen at any given moment. Anything can break, and it's nice to have a trailer that has literally any tool you need in it to fix it.
Yeah. Actually, this weekend on our way home, we're only 6 hours from home this weekend, and we get about halfway back. Tyler was behind me, and I was hauling the ride truck. It, started acting up on me, so we pulled over, and it wouldn't go anywhere. So I had no idea what was wrong. So I pulled over and called Jim, and he told me check and see if the batteries were dead. So we were checking. It ended up being a bad alternator, and so over time it drained the batteries. So we had to start the generator on his trailer and put 3 different battery chargers on it, sit there for about an hour and make sure it would start. And Dan actually gave us this really nice portable generator. So we strapped that on the back of the Peterbilt and ran an extension cord under the body and put a battery charger in the battery box and ran it the rest of the way home like that. Little makeshift alternator.
That's sick. Wait a minute. If he did all this for you, we're still banning him after all he did over the weekend? He sounded like he kind of got you guys out of there.
Okay. He gave it to us a couple weeks before.
Oh, okay.
Really at that moment, but it did come in handy.
Cam just tuned in, and he was asking, how about a wall on the I-35, Tyler?
Oh yeah, bounced one of the newer rigs. Kind of late night driving, contacts kind of went crazy. That's why, I mean, if you wear contacts, you know that your eyes dry out and you're just sitting there blinking or you're trying to pull them out. And I was trying to pull my contacts out because I could not see, and ended up going across the lane and bouncing and continuing down. Austin didn't feel a thing, but Jim was up in the driver's seat with me after it all.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, I don't know how the message spread so fast, because I remember like less than 30 minutes after, I got like a text message from someone saying, "Did you hear what Tyler just did?" I'm like, "No." When I got the story, I'm like, "Oh my god."
Well,
But the way I was told through it was like it sounded like 10 times worse. And I mean, it was still kind of like, it wasn't awful.
It was bad, but we got home. I mean, I didn't get us home. I thought I was done. I thought I was going to be somewhere north of Wichita trying to figure out how to get back to Idaho.
Few thumbs up, just waiting across the road.
Yeah, just get across the road. Come on, help me out.
Yeah.
I thought that was the day Tyler was going to die.
From just the texts and like calls I got, like the few I got in, I thought he was going to be dead, and I was not going to be seeing like Tyler coming back like a few days later. I thought he was going to like be dead, but glad to see you're still kicking with us.
Yeah,
I feel like this is also ending on a few good questions on following up with that with Tomas Ornella asking what has been your worst rookie mistake driving. I think he's talking monster trucks and not semis, but
it's definitely landing in the throttle or not listening to what the truck's doing. I landed in the throttle this weekend, thinking I wasn't knowing where I was at and blowing a planetary and thinking, oh crap, here it all goes. And there in Rosemont, I think that was the biggest thing because T had told me, don't roll over. Whatever you do not slow down the show. You just came out of MJU. We know you're going to slow the show down. And I go out there and I literally first thing I can do is roll over. So that's probably my worst mistake.
I'm like really torn between these last two questions towards Austin. So I'm just going to go ahead and ask them both. But Richie Kisser is asking Austin, no steering wheel incidents this weekend?
Yeah. This weekend in Moline, we went out for intros. And then, of course, I have to drive the truck hard because we had Too Tall there in Kamikaze and Jim and Bounty. So I had to try to drive the hardest. And the transmission was slipping in intros. And in wheelies, it pissed me off because it wouldn't cooperate. So immediately after wheelies, I drove straight to the trailer, checked the transmission fluid, and it was low. So we put more in, went out for racing, and it was getting worse. So I got through my rounds of racing, and we went back and changed the transmission. And Jim was worried about getting it back. And I told him I would have it back ready to in freestyle. Well, they went ahead and said I wasn't going to make it. So all the trucks did their freestyle. Dan went out there and flattened the tire. And, they ended the show they were trying to end the show with Jim and Too Tall with a dual freestyle. Well, I couldn't see what was going on, so I pulled out there, and they told me I couldn't run, and it pissed me off. So I threw my steering wheel out the windshield, and got out of the truck. And after that, they told me I could run. Went out there and just drove that thing as hard as I could.
Yeah, from the video, it looked like he gave her quite a bit in it.
Yeah, that first jump definitely caught me by surprise. I always watch what everyone else does for freestyle, so I know what I can do.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get to see anything, so I went out there and hit that jump wide open, and it was a terrible idea.
Look cool on camera.
Yeah, it looks good on video.
Not on the body, but yeah. But I want to end it off here with St. John's little comment here saying, Tyler, what is your new shop nickname?
Oh, man. I got to give it up to Slow Jake. We got a high schooler that works with us for summer. I don't know how he got it. He must have got it at one of our shows with the Minions. They called him Slow. And so anytime I see him, I call him Slow Jake. Well, he was walking out with Sinjin, and I was like, hey, what's up, Slow Jake? And he turns around without missing a beat. And I was like, not much, Fat Tyler. And I mean, as soon as he said it, I just had a smile on my face. Just the wittiness and how smooth it was. Like, it didn't even miss a beat. He just continued the conversation and walked right out the door, and I had no comeback for him. So I guess it's Fat Tyler. So
got your ass.
Yeah. After that.
Well, I know what I'm changing your new contact name on my phone now. Go ahead and make sure to remember that. Whenever next time I'm going to see you, I'll make sure to call you Fat Tyler.
Yeah, I'm Fat Tyler now.
Since you just said he pissed his pants, listen to that. Glad no one.
Sinjin's face was priceless because he was walking right out in front of him, and he said it and just kept on walking, didn't even look back. And I was just, as soon as he left, just laughing.
Man, good shit. Well, I know it's coming up past our little hour mark here, and gonna go ahead and close out the podcast going on here. But where can everybody listening in live or later on, where can they follow you?
I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Tyler.Senger on Instagram. Facebook's just Tyler Senger. So if you ever want to chat, always have my phone on me, as Austin knows. So I'll get back to you.
Off of it. So send him a friend request. He'll probably accept it within 20 seconds.
You can also follow him on Tinder. It's the same name. I think it's either that or Grinder.
Yeah.
We're just giving you exposure, dude. I'm just trying to help you out.
Help me out, help my career out. You guys need some photos or anything?
Okay, maybe not photos. We'll just keep it to comments and talk.
All right, that works.
What about you, Austin?
You can follow me on Instagram at @AustinMinton_, or you can try to send me a friend request on Facebook, but I don't ever look at them. So my bad. You can like my athlete page. I'm actually really bad about posting on Instagram or Facebook. So if you don't see anything, don't think I'm not on there. I am. I usually go through and like everyone's stuff, even though I don't post myself.
He's not dead. Good to know. Well, guys, I know it's been a lot of fun. Nice catching up with you two, because for the most part, it's been kind of a little interesting with these past few times. Can't wait to see you all again. And with that, I'll go ahead and see you guys sometime soon. So hopefully before the end of the year.
Yeah, hopefully. See you later, Mason. It's been good.
Yeah.
See you, buddy.
All right. I'll catch you guys later. Well, sorry, guys. I know for you guys watching live, my camera is still dead. So you just have this cool caricature that a friend drew of me. But yep, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Spur Hot Sauce, the Florida Sauce Slingers. They are a Florida-based business where the Southwest meets the Southeast in a clash of hot and tangy flavors. Next time you want to spice up your next meal, think of Spur Hot Sauce. Make sure to give them a like and contact on Facebook and or Instagram and tell them we sent you. Also, we have Monster Truck and Air TV, the place to go on Facebook or YouTube for all things Monster Truck related. I can't wait to see what other content they're going to be bringing up to their pages, sure enough. And with that, before we close it out, we're going to have our next guest be Colt Stevens this Wednesday at our regular time. So be sure to tune in with us. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next episode. We don't have Cam, so goodbye.
Young man, hard man, shouting in the street, gonna take on the world someday. You got blood on your face, your big